I was one of the only kids that had a broken home. I'm already doing drugs. I started selling drugs before I started doing it. Find a way to contribute. And I did that in all the wrong fucking ways. And her finding an empty gun on my passenger seat.
Seeing you the way you were living, it really hurt.
I don't normally drink coffee, but I'm having a coffee to this one. We're doing a story time. And make sure you watch the next YouTube. We will be doing a Q&A where moms will be interviewing me. So I wanted to start from the very beginning, Ma. As a matter of fact, let's fast forward a little bit and then we can retract. 13 years old, I will never forget. It was a Sunday. I used to go to the gym with you, and I used to be a Bally Total Fitness daycare child. That's how I came up, right? And it was a Sunday. The daycare was closed. Mind you, I was already 13. I'm like, the fuck is this woman taking me to a damn daycare, right? So let me go on the gym floor with you. I went on the gym floor with you. You have been trying to get me to sign up to the gym. I never wanted to sign up to the gym. And again, I still remember this vividly. 13 years old, walked into the gym, was on the blacktop where she was doing weights. 13 years old, I'm curious. I'm looking around, and I find $50 under the bench that I'm sitting at. I didn't tell this to my mom at the time. I told my mom, sign me up. I'm ready to start the gym, in hopes that I was going to find more money. The crazy thing is I never found money again in the gym, but what I did find was something so much more valuable. Right? My mom has always, been on top of her shit, taking care of herself. And I can probably say that's the most admirable thing that I got from you, amongst many other things. But that was, through the hell that I put you through, that's something she never let go. So just to kind of track back, Ma, right? At 8 years old, Pops left the house. I didn't have that male influence on me. I tried to find that outside of my home. And being raised in Hialeah, I didn't find that in all the right places, right? 8, 9 years old, I'm already off the porch, right? I'm
Struggling.
I'm struggling.
You were at that time, at that age.
Yeah, I grew up really quick. It was like me being heartbroken from my dad leaving, because at that time, we're talking 1998, 1997. At that time, divorce wasn't so common, right? Like, I was one of the only kids, as a matter of fact, the only kid on the block that had a broken home. Everyone else had both parents at home. So I went from this kid who was just completely broken, Pops, my superhero, left the house, to growing up very, very quick, very, very fast. And, my mom never showed me her struggle, but I knew she was struggling. And I felt me as the man of the house now, I had to step up and go find a way to contribute. And I did that in all the wrong fucking ways, right? First thing that I find as I'm getting curious, and especially with the male figures that I had around me, were drugs. Specifically, reggies. That was the lower grade marijuana at the time. And it was easier to access, and it was very cheap. So I remember I got my first little batch of that, broke that down. It was a half an ounce. Half an ounce back then was like $20. $20 at 9, 10 years old wasn't that hard to get. I saved up my lunch money for 2-3 weeks, and I was able to get that and flip it. And my mom can just see how fast my childhood left me. Like, I wasn't a kid anymore. I didn't have a PlayStation. I didn't like watching too much TV. I was this kid who, liked the PlayStation and did all that before my dad left. And that's very important, like, as a boy especially, you need that positive male role model in your life, which is why I'm so hard on my kids. So 8, 9 years old, I'm seeing my mom struggle. Obviously, Pops left the house. My mom was broken too. And I will walk out on you in the middle of the night on the porch, and you're smoking cigarettes. She will hide it from me. And I will always smell it. And I will tell my mom, stop lying. Like, why are you smoking? And me at the time, I didn't know why she was so hurt. And obviously I know my dad left, but I didn't know the dynamic of a relationship and how much it can affect you. So I saw her smoking. I saw her struggling. She would just keep this hard fucking shell, man. And as the years went, I just, like, my child, any child in me, my inner child completely diminished. And by age 11 years old, I'm already selling drugs full throttle. I'm already doing drugs. I started selling drugs before I started doing it. Because I remember when I first started getting my hands on weed, which was my first drug of choice to sell, I used to see you smoke. I didn't like the smell of smoke. I didn't want to smell or do the shit that my mom was doing.
Smoke cigarettes.
But that was still my way out.
Yeah.
Because it was still smoking. And I say this to my audience all the time. Whether you're smoking cigarettes or you're smoking crack, that's still your way out. Us as parents, our weakness is our way out. So that's why I don't smoke, I don't drink, and I do. As a matter of fact, I do smoke cigars, right? But I don't do it maybe once every, 3 months was the last time I smoked a cigar, ma? Months ago. But she was very dependent on that. And then I started to get very dependent on smoking weed. And that was the gateway to just a life of crime. I went from reggies to crip to cocaine. I remember you breaking into one of my lockers when I was like 14 years old and finding pills, cocaine, all sorts of shit. So coming up 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, right? And you're already starting to suspect that I was into certain things. How did you feel?
Frustrated.
Frustrated because you had no control, frustrated because you didn't have much life experience with the Miami street life, She had a lot of experience with coming from Brazil and, making it on your own. She's a tough one. But like that, you didn't have much experience with, right?
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah, at that time, I felt disappointed. Not having the support from family. Seeing you the way you're living, it really hurts. But I lost control. I lost control. And as time passed, it just got worse and worse. It's like, it's a hell life. I couldn't sleep. I was always like, every time the phone rings, I was like, oh my God, what happened? Where's my son? But deep inside, I always knew that I was not alone. I was not alone. I prayed a lot. That was support, that's how I made it, my faith. And I just see it as things got worse and worse and worse.
Fast.
Very, very fast. And 3 years, it was just, I couldn't take anymore, But I never gave up on you because I knew that was not your life. You had, your future was something so greater that deep inside I knew it because I always prayed for that. And when you were 15, now then things start just getting worse and worse. You doing things.
I remember getting arrested at 13 years old for the first time.
And I didn't even know because
my dad had bonded me out.
He never told me.
My dad is behind this camera. He's here helping me out with some stuff in the house. And
I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on until I found a police report because, I had to find something what was going on. And I started looking at some papers and his rule. And I found a police report. And that's when the first time that I knew that he was arrested. He was a juvenile. He was, 13? I think 13, 14.
13 years old, I got arrested.
From then on, it just got impossible.
Yeah, it was a very, very fast snowball effect. Like, it trickled down very, very quick,
And then you move up and up and up and doing more. And I had no control. I really, even if I want to, remember when I used to go on the street at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, looking for you. It was hard. It was very, very hard, but
I remember there was one time, because I grew up on La Chancleta, right? My mom used to, and I was probably like 9, 10 years old, and she was beating the shit out of me, and I did not budge.
Oh, no, yeah.
And I remember her looking at me and just being like, I lost you. Like, that's it. Like, I have no more authority over you.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at her, I'm like,
Yeah, it was a very, 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 very tough time. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I knew what's going on. I knew more than you thought that I knew. I knew.
oh, we haven't revisited this since, huh?
Yeah.
Or we cannot, because look where I'm at.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Megamorphosized. I mean, yeah, I got kicked out of every squad and last longer than maybe 2-3 weeks. I was out of fucking control. I was out of control. You know, and I'm painting this picture to show who I was, what it took the in between to who I am now. It took a lot of work. But if I was able to do it, anyone can, right? And again, it was like 15 years old, a whole nother bracket of just illegal shit, just crazy shit going on. You know, 18 years old, fuck, I'm like way deeper into the streets. You know, 21 years old, I became the leader of a gang. I remember my mom walking into my house one day, seeing all these killers, wolves, like vampires in my house. And she was so scared. Like, she had this fear over her. And I remember her walking in and everyone greeting her. Doña, ¿cómo está? You know, very nice. And she looked at me with a face of, like, she was just so scared of how I was running that whole operation. She's like, you're the main man here, right? She could tell. She looked at how everyone treated her and how everyone was moving around me. And to see her innocent baby boy, right? Like, be this fucking, this monster. You know, and I remember her initial response when she walked in was, are these guys kidnapping my son? That's the face she gave me. She looked so scared. She's like, are these guys here kidnapping my kid, my son, my baby? And then the way they greeted her and the way they respected me and the way that I'm just pointing it, and everyone's moving. My mom is just walking through the crowd and everyone's just breaking apart. She looked at me. She's like, damn, son. That was hard. I was so numb at that time, but I felt that from my mom. And I'm like, damn, there was such an exchange of words from just the looks that me and you gave each other. And she was like, she looked at me with a face of, you're gone. And I looked at her like, I don't think I can come back from this. I really didn't think I was going to come back, you know, from the street light to the drugs to, I remember me waking up at like 14 years old and her finding an empty gun on my passenger seat. 14 years old, there's a shell on the seat and her asking me, Eddie, what'd you do last night? And I woke up and it just all came back to me. You know, to me getting arrested and her having to show up to the county jail time after time after time after time. You know, me starting to have the kids and me just growing in power and notoriety. To me finally getting arrested. There was a few instances where you thought I was gone. Remember, I caught that gun charge at like 17 years old. I had an aggravated assault on the Leo. They came to my, that's another one. I had aggravated assault on the Leo, which is a lieutenant. This was a pretty serious charge. And they direct filed me, sent me straight to county jail as a juvenile. I beat that case, came out, and showed up to my mom's house like at 2 a.m. And 2 guys in ski masks. I remember they had me arrested and they went straight into my room and found a sawed-off double pump shotgun. She's like, who is this kid, bro? Like, who the fuck is this kid? You know, to me going to prison. But there's one thing that I can remember very vivid, that there was obviously seasons where were rougher than others, but she never stopped doing her self-work. She never stopped going to church. She never stopped going to the gym. You know, the more deeper I got into shit, the more deeper she got into personal development, which was she didn't smoke cigarettes anymore. You stopped cigarettes a long time ago.
Yeah.
through the midst of all that shit, right?
Yes.
She didn't drink as much through the midst of all that.
No.
I think if you would have gone the other way, I would have lost you, you would have lost me, and I would have not felt like I was in debt to her. Me going to prison, I felt in debt to this woman. I'm like, bro, I put this woman through so much shit. Her, my kids, the mother of my kids, I put them through some hell. Right? So, yeah, that was a fucking story, man.
And after you went to the feds, that was tough.
That's when you know it's real.
Yep.
But you know what's crazy? Because when I went to the feds, you felt peace.
Oh, yes.
Come on.
Because I knew that one day you would be a different person.
But you also knew that I was safer in there than I was out here.
Definitely. I did have some peace.
You know how crazy that is? You know, for your mom, a parent to have peace over your son going to prison, that's her knowing that I was so deep into some shit that she said, I accept this. You know?
Yeah, because I got to a point that I said, I remember the day before you had to show in court because you knew that you were going in. And it was so bad that I said, God, I give him to you. Do whatever you have to do. If you have to leave him by himself, alone, for him to change, do whatever it takes. And it happened. He transformed you. You watch, and then I say it was worth it. All my tears, seeing you the way you are now. I mean, there's no word to explain. It makes me so proud of you, even though you went through so much and you put me through so much. But seeing you today, I'm so proud, and I can't have peace because you gave me peace. And, it was worth it, all the pain, because that transformed you. You made you mature. That's when you decide, I have to change. I have to be a better person. And that's why I tell people, I know people, mothers that is going through the same thing. I said, look at my story, look at my life, and don't give up on your kids. Whatever it takes, never give up on your kids. And you are testimony. That's why
I never gave up on me, man. My mom never ever gave up on me, and I feel like what I went through, I had to go through at the extent that I went through it to change to the extent that I changed.
Oh, yeah. It had to.
It was either that or it was.
Or you'll be dead.
No, dead or in prison, 1,000%. That was my outcome, the probability of what was going to happen to me. But if I would not gone to the extreme of the shit that I went through, I might have still been putting her through some shit just on a lower level. Right? I might have still been fucking around with women. I might have still been doing the illegal shit. Like, I had to go that deep into it, to know that, okay, this is not what the fuck I want anymore.
And it's see you as a father. No one in us for a better father than you, because you are, your kids, it's like Little Eddie said, and I told him, oh, Pop is too tough on me, it's too hard. I said, no, he's doing that because he does not want you to go through what he went through. It was worth it, all the pain, seeing you today, and I only can tell you how proud I am.
And I'm proud to make you proud. I'm proud to leave my mom. If she goes tomorrow, she was proud that her main objective in this world, which was her son, was accomplished. And I think that's any mother's biggest accolade to have, right? It's like, I raised my kids to be who I wanted them to be, so.
That's it.
Thank you, Ma. that was just a little story time for you guys. On the next one, my mom will be interviewing me. Got some really interesting questions. As a matter of fact, you guys want to ask some questions, put them in the comments, and then I'll be interviewing her. From a mom to a son, what would you like to know? From a son to a mom, what would you like me to ask? All right, stay tuned. Appreciate you guys for supporting and listening in.